guys, it's Caitlin. So I'm super excited. This is gonna be my August wrap up. It hasn't been my best reading month, but like with saying that, a certain number of books isn't considered like good reading month, but normally I am used to reading a lot more books than this. But this month I was on vacation for a week. I started school. I'm currently sick and I've been in a reading slump, which is right now. I don't have the physical copy with me, but the first book I read is The Silent Patient. So I gave this book a 4 stars. It was pretty good, and I honestly haven't read many thrillers, so I don't really have like the criteria for thrillers yet to know like what's a 5-star and what's not. I thought it was a pretty good book. I did kind of see the twist coming, but not really. Basically about this girl who is blamed for the death of her husband. She shot him. She just doesn't talk. So there's this doctor, psychologist, I don't remember the proper like name he is, but he basically gets the job offering to go work at the same facility that she's in, and he basically just wants to like understand what happened and get her to talk. So it just kind of follows them throughout the video and you understand why, obviously. And then I read Hook, Line, and Sinker. I really loved the characters in this book. I did like it less than It Happened One Summer. That was just because like his reason for not like wanting to date her, I just thought was kind of obnoxious and like, I don't know. Like I got it, but like it didn't have to be that deep, I feel. It was still super good and definitely recommend. And then I read The Love Hypothesis in this book. So I didn't really start reading like this intensely till June, but I've known about this book for like a year and it's always been on my radar, but I've never actually like went out and bought it because honestly it kind of scared me because I seen too much hype about it. And I feel like the hype kind of got to me because I was a little let down. I was definitely expecting more since it was probably one of the most hyped up books ever. Basically this is about Olive, like woman in STEM type thing, and basically it's a fake dating book between her and a professor, but she's like a grad student, so it's not like that. I don't know, I can't really pinpoint what I didn't love about this. And then I read Every Summer After. Again, I don't have the physical one with me because it's actually downstairs in my sell pile. That sounds really bad. Honestly, Love in Other Words, X Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, some of the characters literally even have similar names. I basically didn't think I needed Love in Other Words and Summer I Turned Pretty in my collection since basically they're the same book in a different font. It was still a cute book. I read it while on vacation, so it definitely fit the vibe like that I wanted. It's basically childhood friends to lovers. Obviously something traumatic happens and they don't talk for, you know, tens of years. Don't remember what that was. Oh yeah, I do. So if you like The Summer I Turned Pretty or Love in Other Words, you need to read Every Summer After. But like, just beware, it's basically the same book. And then I read One True Loves. I absolutely loved this book so much. I cried the entire second half, and I'm not joking. I was bawling. Read this right now. Basically anything by Taylor Jenkins Reid, you need to read it. This is basically about Emma who marries her high school sweetheart, and then he basically is in a tragic accident and is presumed dead. But one day she gets a call and is like, hey yo, I'm alive. But she's already engaged to another guy. So she basically just has to figure out who she wants to be with and all that drama, and read that book. So next I read Cruel Prince, and then I read Hopeless, and then the rest of the Cruel Prince trilogy, but I'm just going to talk about that all at once. So I read Hopeless. This book was amazing. This is so underhyped for calling books. It was so good. And it is technically a series. Book 2 is the same thing, but in the guy's POV. And I did not want to read that like right after I read the same book, basically. So I'm gonna wait to finish the series until like I kind of forget about this so I can like reread it again, basically, but just in his POV. This is one of Colleen's craziest books ever. Like, just thinking about what happened in this book, I'm like still shocked. My jaw is still on the floor. This was not what I expected. I was expecting some like high school romance with some like dumb plot twist, but absolutely not. Literally no. The complete opposite. Like, this book was freaking crazy. Basically, Skye meets Dean Holder, a guy who has a reputation of his own. Basically, she just falls for him, obviously. I think that's all I'm gonna tell you because you really have to go into this blind. I went into this so blind. I thought it was just like some high school romance, which it is a high school romance, but it's not. It's way more. Way more. Then I read the Folk of the Air trilogy. I absolutely loved this so much. The second after I finished it, I wanted to reread it again. Like, the first book, I will say, I did give it like 3.5 because it did take me a while to get into, but I feel like that's normal with fantasy books because you're like world building and everything. The rest of the series I gave 5 stars. This was really my first like fantasy series, and since then I have bought almost that whole stack right there of fantasy books. This is basically about Jude, where her parents were murdered and then her and her sisters were basically then taken to live in like a fairyland. And yeah, some parts of it were a little slower, but that's okay. Then I read Twisted Love. This book, what I thought about this was I thought it was Wattpad x Colleen Hoover. I don't know if that's like a popular belief, but it kind of gave me those vibes. I originally gave this 4.5 stars, and then I actually thought about it and bumped her all the way down to 3 stars because I did really like the ending, but with that, 100 pages earlier, I thought it could end. And then like I kept reading, I was like, bro, what are we gonna do for these next 100 pages? And then I was like, oh, that's what we're gonna do. So I don't know what that means really, but I don't know. And I just didn't really love their relationship or Alex sometimes, and yeah, I think I will continue with the series, but just because the next book's about a princess and her bodyguards, so like kind of have to, and that's the next book, but we'll see how that goes, and then we'll decide if I want to read the rest of the series, so we'll keep you updated. I read Mr. Wrong Number. This was my first Lynn Painter book. For some reason I haven't read, why did I read this instead better than the movies? I don't know, but I thought this was super cute. I really loved the idea of it. I did give it 4 stars because Olivia was kind of oblivious. I really liked the main guy. I already forgot his name. Colin. I did really like this story. It just wasn't amazing. Okay, besties, so I finished the cheat sheet. I started it on the 30th and I finished it also on the 30th, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of the cutest books I've read in a while, and Nathan might be my new favorite book boyfriend. It's basically about Nathan, who is in the NFL. I know. It's basically a friends to lovers with fake dating. So yeah, it is adorable and we love Nathan. Yeah. So that is all of the books I read in August. Stay tuned for September. I'm gonna hopefully read some really popular series. Get excited, and I'll see you guys next time.